That smile wasn't acting. Director Yoo Ja-won breaks silence on Jung Hae-in and Jung So-min's bond. Was it just brilliant acting, or did something real bloom behind the scenes? For the first time, director Yoo Ja-won opens up about what he truly witnessed on set between Jung Hae-in and Jung So-min, and his words may just change everything we thought we knew. Red Carpet Revealed is here to uncover the truth behind the smiles, the stares, and the silent moments. Ready to dive in? Let's find out, right now. In an intimate, low-lit office tucked inside a post-production studio in Seoul, we sat down with director Yoo Ja-won, known for his nuanced eye and subtle romantic storytelling. But this time, it wasn't about the drama itself. It was about what unfolded behind it. What began as a standard interview on the making of Love Next Door quickly turned into something much more revealing. Interviewer: Director Yoo. Let's get straight to it. That rooftop smile in episode 9, it didn't feel scripted. Was it? Yoo Ja-won, smiling faintly, it wasn't. I didn't tell him to do it. In fact, that moment still surprises me. He leans back, folding his arms as if replaying it in his mind. We were filming late that day. And I remember Hae-in just looked at So-min and smiled, not the kind of smile you put on for a camera. It was delicate, like he saw something only he could understand. When I saw the playback, I got chills. I knew then, this was beyond the character. They changed the scene without saying a word. Interviewer: when did you first notice something was different between them? Yoo: around the 3rd week of shooting. There was this street scene. They were supposed to part ways after a brief exchange. But during the 2nd take, they lingered. Neither wanted to walk away. It wasn't in the script. I didn't yell, cut. I just let it run. He laughs gently, shaking his head. They finished the scene, then stood there, in silence, and when they turned away from each other, both looked shaken. That was when I stopped giving them too many notes. I realized they had started communicating in their own way. After one scene, no one could speak. Yoo describes the filming of the Lakeside Confession as a turning point, not just in the script, but in real life. That scene where Hae-in comforts So-min by the water. He wasn't supposed to say anything, but he improvised. He said, "You don't have to hide anymore." That wasn't in any version of the script. The crew looked at me, unsure if we should stop. But So-min, she started crying. Real tears. Not for the camera. I let it continue. We got the take. But once I said, cut, there was this pause. No one moved. It was like we all knew we'd witnessed something personal. They stayed behind when everyone left. Interviewer: did they interact much off camera? Yoo: not in a loud way. But yes, often. He leans in, more serious now. After one night shoot in the countryside, the whole cast went to grab hot drinks. I realized So-min and Hae-in were missing. I thought maybe they'd gone back to their vans. But they hadn't. They were sitting behind a shed, sharing a blanket, just talking, for almost 40 minutes. No staff, no makeup, just them. I didn't disturb them. I didn't ask questions. But I saw it, and I remembered it. The rap party was the confirmation. When asked about the now infamous rap party, Yoo hesitates, then lets out a quiet breath. It was a beautiful night. Quiet Hanok, dim lights, everyone relaxed. Then So-min stood up to speak. She was thanking people normally, until she suddenly looked across the garden and said, "This project gave me someone worth remembering it with." I remember the silence. No one knew what to say. And then Hae-in stood up. He didn't take the mic. He just said, "So did I." That's when I knew. For sure, I've directed love stories, but this was different. Interviewer: are they together now? Yoo, smiling, that I can't say. It's not mine to tell. He pauses again, carefully choosing his words. I've seen actors build chemistry. I've even seen them pretend it's real. But this? What they had on set, it was never forced. Never loud. It was quiet, but powerful. It made the drama richer. It made their characters breathe. And as a director, when you witness something like that, you step back. You don't direct it, you just capture it. He looks once more at the paused frame of that rooftop smile. Whatever was between them, trust, affection, or something deeper, It wasn't written in any script. It was just there. And with that, the interview ends, quietly, with the same kind of unspoken understanding that defined the relationship between Jung Hae and Jung So-min throughout Love Next Door. What happens next, off-screen, remains to be seen. But if Yoo Ja-won is right, that smile wasn't acting, and neither was everything that came after it. From the very start of Love Next Door, it was clear that the pairing of Jung Hae and Jung So-min would be memorable. What wasn't clear, at least not to the public, was how deeply the on-screen emotions were rooted in something off-screen. You can tell when actors are hitting their marks. Yoo explained. But there came a point when I stopped giving directions. Not because I was lazy. Because I didn't want to interrupt something that was unfolding on its own. He spoke of a particular lakeside scene that never made it into the final version. According to the script, So-min was supposed to cry quietly while Hae-in simply sat beside her. But in one take, she broke down completely, real sobs. Real shaking. Hae-in responded instinctively, cupping her face, whispering something that wasn't in any script. We didn't even have a second camera ready. Yoo said, smiling gently. It wasn't supposed to be emotional. But it became one of the most hauntingly beautiful takes I've ever captured. So why didn't it make the final cut? He pauses before answering. Because it wasn't theirs as characters. It was theirs as people. A director's dilemma. Filmmakers often boast about capturing authenticity. But Yoo found himself facing a quiet ethical question. What happens when authenticity becomes intimacy? I remember watching the raw footage alone in the editing room. He said, and I felt like I was intruding. It wasn't acting anymore. It was something unfolding between two people who had forgotten the camera was there. There were 2 or 3 of these moments, unscripted, raw, visceral. None of them made it to broadcast. Not because they were flawed, but because they were real in a way that no fictional story could replicate. We were filming a drama. He continued, but I think they were living something else. The scene that still haunts him. Yoo recounts one particular evening. A scene shot during golden hour. Just before sunset, Hae-in and So-min were supposed to walk together down a path and part ways in silence. They held hands longer than the scene required. Then So-min looked up at him with this expression, not scripted. Just raw. When Yoo called cut, neither of them moved. It was as if they forgot where they were. No crew, no lights, just each other. Later that night, while reviewing the footage, Yoo sat alone in the studio. That one take left him speechless. It felt like I had filmed something sacred. And I couldn't use it, not because I didn't want to, but because it wasn't mine to share. So-min's quiet request. A few days after filming wrapped, Yoo received an unexpected visit. So-min came to my office. He recalled. She didn't say much, just looked at me and asked, "Can we keep that scene just between us?" Yoo nodded. She didn't need to explain. I understood completely. What Hae-in never said. Interestingly, Jung Hae never asked for anything to be cut. But according to Yoo, his silence said enough. He didn't make requests. But during the final week of editing, he sent me a message. "Thank you for protecting what matters." That's all it said. Yoo never replied. There are moments you don't reply to. You just carry them. What the audience will never see. In an industry where every behind-the-scenes photo is dissected, every interaction becomes speculation, and every emotion is questioned for authenticity, Yoo Ja-won made a decision few directors would. I kept those scenes out. He said softly, not because they were bad, but because they were theirs. He leans back, eyes flicking to the paused footage again. We filmed a drama, he repeats, but they lived something real. And the only thing I ever cut was the part that didn't belong to the story. It belonged to them.